Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Today, coming to you live from the 61st Annual O'Reilly Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center in downtown Houston, baby.
All right.
You squirrels better have some nuts in your mouth, otherwise you're going downtown.
What?
That's a quote from a movie. And you know exactly the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
Oh, that's the Hollywood Nights.
That's
Oh,
the only,
really?
the only movie he quotes, and he'll do it all day long.
Howdy
Now
along
I'll
with,
remember that.
howdy
Coming
along with
you.
Mike Out of This World, Mars, King Konrad, DeLong, Jeffrey Zekin. We need more Jeff. And then we have over here David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. Our guest in the remote studio of the In Wheel Time machine is
The Autorama studio.
is the Autorama studio and Mr. Larry Way. So good to see you, and you know it's so fun to talk to you because you're a car guy, and
Well,
not just a PR guy.
I really appreciate.
Does Autorama know what they've got in you?
No. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
And I enjoy what I do, obviously.
You know, Teresa just chimed in, said she's watching. So.
Oh, is she?
No, I don't know that.
Teresa's wonderful.
I
She's
know.
probably not. But, no, Teresa's wonderful. I work very closely with her, as you know. And we at Autorama appreciate you guys.
Well, thanks. You
for
know, it's so
coming
funny
every year.
that I don't know how many years it's been, 10 years or something like that. I called her on the phone, not knowing who she was or anything, saying, you know, we would like to do our car show from Autorama. She says, okay, well, tell me about your car show. So we told her about the car show, and next thing you know, here we are. And so we've just been clicking right along all these years, and we look forward to coming to this every year, and because it's special for us. There's no other show like this.
No. Right.
We do lots of cruise-ins. We do some judged shows, but they are pretty much a cruise-in type of show.
We do the new car show.
We do the new car show.
But this is where I want to be.
This
You
is
know,
the only show that
this-
invites us back.
That's pretty much right. Yeah, but it's great to see you, and thanks for
Well,
having
thank you
us
for
back
having me. And
again.
it's nice to be here for Thanksgiving. And somebody said yesterday, you're lucky you get to celebrate Thanksgiving twice because Thanksgiving in Canada is in October.
Oh, that's right, it is.
So this guy says to me, like, do you guys have stuffed moose for Thanksgiving? Thanks a lot. You know?
That's it.
No, we have,
he
we
don't
have
get out
turkey.
much. Yeah, they don't.
This
get
is
out
it's funny because Thanksgiving is a statutory holiday, but it's just another holiday. It's huge. I think Thanksgiving is bigger than Christmas in this country.
I
in the
do
United
too,
States.
because it's universal. I mean, there's not some sort of religious thing attached to it. It's give thanks for what you got.
Give thanks for what you got. Yes.
And it goes back
and
to
share what you have with others.
Right.
You know, that's always part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this certainly is sharing all of the good stuff. And you know, it's funny. There are a lot of cars that come from out of state that are here.
Yes.
They come from a long way, as a matter of fact, some of them. And it's pretty remarkable to see because you never get to see all of this in one place except once a year. And, of course, last year we missed the show because of COVID. And we dreaded it. It's like, are you kidding? They can't cancel that.
Well, it's time for everybody to get out. So if you're home listening to us, come on down. They open it. You guys open at 10.
We open at 10.
So come on down. There's plenty of parking. Come on and enjoy the show.
10 to 8 today, 10 to 6 tomorrow.
Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store and get
a
discount.
discount ticket.
Get discount. So you know a family of 4 can save a lot of money. You're driving by O'Reilly, just stop in and get your advance tickets and come down.
Well, you go to
Wonderful.
O'Reilly's to get your parts anyhow.
Where you do that anyway.
And then tomorrow you have Sting.
Sting
is going to be
Not
the
the singer.
Not the Stinger. Well,
You don't have that one?
yeah, he's
Sting, the professional wrestler.
He's in the WWE Hall of Fame, and he's a very popular wrestler. So yeah, and he's done some shows with us, so it's wonderful.
So every year you have one of those ultimate top level wrestlers as a guest.
We try.
What's the relationship with the wrestling community?
Just popularity?
Just popularity.
Is it-
I mean, the wrestling fans, a lot of wrestling fans, like maybe sports fans or football, are maybe not that interested in. I shouldn't say that. A lot of the sports fans and so on are interested in wrestling. Fans are interested in wrestling. They don't care about they're going to line up tomorrow morning. The lobby will be full tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
All with their face painted
And-
like Sting.
Like Sting. There'll be all these people dressed and their face painted like Sting. And when the doors open, they'll just run to the stage.
Yeah.
And when it's over, they'll go. They'll leave.
That is so
what
funny.
they're
But it
coming for.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah.
Well, I know one of the ultimate level wrestlers, Booker T. He's a Houston guy.
Oh, is he? I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know that.
he's a Houston-based guy, and I'd run into this. Bomberas had built him a Camaro years ago.
Oh.
That show quality car.
Oh, really?
So it's a lot of wrestling folks do have the passion for cars as well.
Well, wrestling in
The
this
wrestlers most of them are car guys.
Well, I
they
have to tell you that wrestling in this city still exists from the Paul Bosch days. When this
Absolutely.
goes back to the 50s. And a matter
With
of fact,
you.
they used to, right. they used to wrestle right on the other side of town in the old Sam Houston Coliseum. And they're also, if the Coliseum was filled with a car show, then they would wrestle at the old City Auditorium, which I found out is where Jones Hall sits today. I did not know that.
And Mattress Mac was one of their big advertisers. With
Back
Paul
in the
Bosch.
Paul Bosch days, yes, exactly. But there's a huge wrestling. As a matter of fact, a guy that I fly with, Mike Silman, he was a wrestling promoter back in the day, and wrestling before WWE was basically
Regional.
regional, yeah, and. Can't remember their name, the region here, but they all knew each other, and then they'd trade out and go into different regions that people didn't know them, and they, of course, were always the underdog. And it's truly a cult following, the whole wrestling thing. But that's good to know that he's going to be here tomorrow.
John Cena, who's he's doing a lot of acting now, is a big car guy, and I'm going to say. Less than 10 years ago, Big Show, who's 6 feet tall, weighs 450 pounds. Wonderful guy. John Cena gave him a 66 Hemi Charger for his birthday, which at that time was worth six figures. And they gave it to him for a birthday present. So
Nice.
a lot of the wrestlers are real car guys.
I made a note, Mike. Next week in the studio, we're going to paint our faces.
So we can look like Sting.
So-
You buy the
but-
face painter, I'm in.
Yeah, but we have to decide who's going to have the white and who's going to have the black paint because, NWO, and you got to get all that good stuff figured out.
I was thinking like Kiss with the stars and the blood dripping.
Oh, yeah.
I want
Anyway, I was
You're
gonna
more
tell
into it
you,
than I realized.
Paul Bosch and them, they used to come to Beaumont, too,
Yes.
on their off nights.
That's right.
Same thing. City Auditorium, they would come over there and do some things over
That's
there.
tomorrow. The other thing, too, that I wanted to mention, if you're interested in getting specific about some of the vendors, I know that Tremec is here, the big transmission company. They were here a couple of years ago. Went over there and talked to those guys, and very interesting. I mean, I don't know a lot about transmissions other than a 4-speed, a 6-speed, a 10. They can talk transmissions to you.
Well, and they're a huge supplier to the OEMs.
That's
Yes.
exactly
you
right.
know, and actually they're the only ones who build transmissions that are capable of some of the power of some of these OEM powertrains today.
Yeah. So, but there are people like that here as well, and so
we have a lot of great vendors here. Tremec, and they have kits. So let's say you have, I'll use an example. A friend of mine's got a 69 Nova 396, 375 horse, 4-speed car.
Fun
Basically,
car.
basically a restore car, but he put a Tremec 5-speed in it. So now he's got that 5th speed when he drives it on the highway. The engine rev
Almost like an overdrive.
Yeah.
almost
well,
like
it's-
overdrive, exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's what I want to do for my rally is put an overdrive in it.
And then they have kits, so you don't cut anything. It's just you can take all the original stuff out, and
It all
if you ever
fits.
want to put it back, you can.
How many of these vendors follow you and the circuit of
Several
show?
do. Yeah, several do. Like
What,
Tremec.
Tremec one of them?
Tremec's one of them. Yeah.
how
They
many
come-
Autoramas are on the agenda for this year?
We
8.
Our company has 12 shows.
12.
We're sanctioned by the International Show Car Association, so I think we're probably about 35 shows total across the United States and Canada. One time, 30 years ago, there was 200 shows.
Oh, wow.
But now with cruise nights and so you can see, depending on where you live, but you can see car shows of some kind here. most months, and in the north, yes, you only see it for 6 months a year. So, but or in California or Nevada or whatever, it's year round also.
Well, there is a show that is on the on cable, if you want to call it that anymore, that I just absolutely loved out of Canada called Rust Valley Restorers. And clearly there is a passion for hot rodding up there.
Oh yeah, there is.
And
there is.
that guy, Mike, I can't remember his last name, but he sold a bunch of his inventory from the junkyard because it was rusting away up there. And I guess his son finally got hold of him and said, "Dad, please.
Let somebody do something with them."
And so they sold a bunch of it off. But what a great show that is.
I remember going to this yard, and they're crushing these cars. That's 10 years ago. And I said, I mean, these are great cars. He says, we need money. We have to live.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And scrap was at a high point then, and I'm seeing them pick these cars. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at that two-door hardtop that's going
destroyed forever,
being destroyed forever. But it's
well,
income for them.
And then ISCA, correct?
Yes.
They are the premier judging organization for hot rod show cars.
Well, the thing with our indoor shows, we're all human, and you're judging a couple of cars, and this guy's a jerk, and this guy is a nice guy. We're going to give it to the nice guy. So with the International Show, that's human nature.
Yep.
With the International Show Car Association, there's a rule book and there's rules and regulations to follow. And most of the time, we bring people in from out of town. So it doesn't matter that the guy's a jerk because the people don't know them.
Right.
So they're actually judging the cars.
And they're not around him long enough to learn he's a jerk.
That's right.
Well, a friend of mine, Mark Myers, has been an ISCA judge for years, and I'm going to give a shout out because I think Melanie's listening. Mark passed away this year.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
Well, yeah, but his passion for judging and cars and coming to the shows, he was here every year. Didn't necessarily judge every year, but he always had to come out to Autorama for all these years.
There was for a lot of years. I was judging 25 shows a year. I worked for Super Chevy. Super Chevy used to have shows, and they had 20. I think they had 21 or 22 shows. They had them at drag strips.
Yep. Went one time.
So what they would do, what Super Chevy would do, they put together 20 judges from different parts of the country, one Canadian, different parts of the country. So what you would do, you would send in at the beginning of the year the shows you were available for. So a month out, they would say, okay, we need 7 people. So they would look at airfares and see what they could get. But I wanted to go to the nice shows like Pomona, California, Las Vegas, and Denver, Colorado. And there's some that I really wanted to go to. So I said, what if I saw what the budget was? What if I bought my airfare and you would reimburse me, afterwards? So I would watch for a sale, and I call and say, what's the budget for Las Vegas? They say $350. I said I can get an airfare for $325, and this could be a couple of months out. So I'd buy it. Pardon me, I'd have to sit on it. I'd have to sit on it for a couple of months, but I got to go, and I got to go to Pomona. And the other guys
they saved a little bit of money.
And they saved some money, and the other guys would say, how do you get to go to all these shows? And I told them why. I would say, well, I'm not going to do that. Well, I said, well, I am, and I'm going to get to go to these shows. And so it was wonderful, but I was still working for my government job, so I would work, and then I'd go to the airport, take Friday afternoon off, and at noon and head to the airport. Went before 9/11 when you could get go there on short notice and jump on a plane.
You were Dudley Do-Right, weren't you? You were.
Yes.
Yes, he was. He was Dudley, the Canadian Mounted Police.
No. Actually, I don't know if I ever told. I worked in television. The proceedings of our Parliament are fashioned after the British system, and ours were the first to be televised. So I worked for 25 years in television, like industrial television, for the House of Commons. I broadcast that, like C-SPAN here in the United States.
So in the Canadian House of Commons, do they still have all the people on the side having their snarky comments while somebody's talking? Is that allowable?
So yeah. So one of the jobs we're working.
It's not allowable here in the United States. Oh my God!
It's the truth. So, we rotated. So. Through the jobs, the cameras were remote controlled. The control room's 2 floors above, floor and a half above. So you'd either do camera, audio, whatever it was. But you would turn the microphones on for the members. There was a console, So you
Oh, dear God.
So as when the speaker would recognize somebody, you would press a button and turn
Open
that
the mic.
open the mic for that person. But when I worked down there, most of our guys
You just turned them all on at the same time.
no, you can only turn one on.
Okay.
But what most of our guys did not want to work there because it's live TV. It's a half-second delay. If you miss somebody, they'll say, "Over here." They'll yell up at you. So it's embarrassing. So and you had to wear a jacket and tie because like a lot of our guys didn't want to do that either. But I was comfortable there. And somebody got up on a 20-minute speech because I understood the system. I'd take a nap. I mean, I'd just go to sleep. So. Because I'm tired because I'm working car shows all the time.
It's a politician talking for 20 minutes. You knew they weren't going to say anything.
I knew this guy was going to be up for it, so I'd take a little cat nap. But I was comfortable working at the concert. But when I worked there, where I was going with that, I would leave one ear open to hear the comments. I mean, the things they're saying. I mean, it's terrible. And this guy, one time, he was my favorite politician of all time, and I hoped he would have been prime minister, but he didn't. But anyway,
He got Justin
he
instead.
really didn't. This is maybe 20 years ago. He really didn't like this one woman. She was very vocal and so on.
My ex-wife.
She was there.
Which one?
I have a couple of them too. So as he's sitting down, and he said under his breath, but not so much under his breath, said, "You're nothing but a slut."
To her.
As he's sitting down. Now the microphone was, as it changed.
It caught some of it.
Now who would have ever said that he said that? Because there's other people and nobody, and of course it hit the news and he said this, but you couldn't really hear it on the recording I heard it because I heard it. He wasn't far from me.
Right.
But I'm not going to say he said that. One time we the speaker would sit there, and and they have a ceremonial thing, and they would bring in this mace, and they would set it there, and that would mean that Parliament was sitting. So security was kind of lackadaisy. Anyway, this guy actually comes into the House of Commons, walks around a stranger, grabs all and starts yelling at the speaker. So security's going, what?
What do we do?
So this guy is at the front, pointing like this. So, and I'm on the microphone console. Now, at that time, the microphone was at. So I thought, what's he pointing at? Am I supposed to give the guy the mic? So I hit the microphone at the mic. So all I had to say went out, and then, of course, the intercom, they said, cut that mic, cut that. So
Funny.
So that afternoon, one of the guys I knew that was a cameraman with one of the networks said, "Why didn't you guys get that?" I said, "You're lucky you got audio. That was my mistake, But it was.
Well, say here in the United States, the guy would be wearing a big horned hat and no shirt, and it'd be called an insurrection.
So how many times have you met the Queen?
I've never met the Queen. I mean,
He knows Don.
I met the prime.
That Queen.
It's
There's
close
that-
enough.
I've met several prime ministers, like your president, but I never met the Queen. Oh, and we have a representative. We're not a colony anymore. Canada's not a colony anymore, but we're tied to England. The Governor General, who's the Queen's representative in Canada, has downtown. Now think about this. Say downtown Washington D.C. Downtown has 50 acres, and it's all. Nobody knows what's in there. I mean, the main building has 50 bedrooms and 50 washrooms.
Hey, it's just like the in-wheel time offices.
Oh gosh.
But the prime minister of our country has a modest house. I mean, he's like in a trailer park compared to the Governor General, and the Governor General is really just a ceremonial thing. But Canadians don't know how much that. So I got to tour that. I was on a course, and
Did you use all the bathrooms?
No, but I was with the PR girl for the Governor General, and she said, "This is the Queen's bedroom." So I went in and I bounced on her. She says, "Nobody can sit on the Queen's bed." Bouncing on her.
And
So she said,
here's Larry bouncing on her
So
bed.
she said, "We're going to cut this tour short."
A baby's arm clutching an
Afraid
apple.
of what you're going to do later.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
How funny. How
This guy's not going in the Queen's bathroom.
One time, one more quick story before we go. Stop talking about Parliament. So I fly in on Monday morning. I'm dead tired from a car show. The speaker recognizes somebody. I turn his microphone on, and I go in and I go to sleep. In my sleep, now nobody can change their microphones. The only one that can change it is the speaker. He can turn his or hers on or off if someone up to talk to him. And it was a deputy speaker I knew very well. Wonderful man, Steve Poprowski. So I went in and I was asleep. And in my sleep, this is the House of Commons is live on TV. In my sleep, I hear a different voice, and I open my eyes, and I see him standing. Now, when he would stand, my job was to turn his microphone on. Now, if the speaker stood and I didn't do that, they would call me from the control room. The director would call and say, "Hey, stupid,
Wake up.
wake up, turn the microphone on." But he saw he turned the microphone on. He said what the member said was unparliamentary. He re-recognized the member, and he sat down. So I turned so I shut his off and turned the other ones off, and he sat back in the chair, and he looked up because I'm at the other end of the chamber, a floor and a half above him, and he sat back in his chair and went, because he knew I was asleep.
Nap time. Nap time. How funny is that?
David, wake up.
How funny is that?
Oh my God!
With everybody that's here, one of the influxes, we talked about this a little bit earlier about the electric cars. Have you got any cars that have shown up that have now got these new electric powertrains in them? Are you starting to see those at some of the Autoramas?
Funny you would say that. No, we have not. A guy came to me. I run a series of shows in the summer, and of course, because of COVID, I didn't. But I did manage and put together 2 shows in September. And this guy came to me and said, "I'm recently retired, and I want to take classic cars, say a '65 Chevelle, and put an electric motor in it." But he says, "I'm going to take the powertrain out of it and put this electric power in it. So these people, young people, will drive it, and they can use Bluetooth and so on and so on. But it can also be restored back because you're not cutting anything up." He says, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think it's a great idea." He was shocked that I would say that because of my history. But I think it's a great idea because that would preserve those cars, other than those cars being sold to somebody else and being put in a
Scrap
A
heap.
museum
or just put away in somewhere because
in a barn.
because
Somebody
the kids don't want them. Young people.
Well,
don't want
They don't.
And I know that's a bit of the rage now is they're actually selling these EV kits
Yes.
that basically bolt into an old GMA body, into a Mustang, and then there's companies that are doing these EV conversions as well that I think might be chopping them up a little bit more. But I'm wondering why that hasn't made any inroads into
Money.
the car show,
It's money.
into the car show
It
scene. yet.
will, because there was a reporter here. So, and you'll see where I'm going with this. So he said, I said, "Where are you?" So he was in the show. I was supposed to be in the lobby. So I said, "Okay, I'm walking down the lobby," and I said, I'm all dressed in black and I have gray hair. He says, "You're describing almost everybody in the building," which is true because most of the people here are baby boomers and they're not big
Right.
electric car people.
Right.
As time goes on, we're going to see.
Yeah,
more.
Well, we all got screwed with Project X. Let me just go ahead and put that out here. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With the turning over to electric, how is Canada faring with their infrastructure for charging batteries and taking road trips with their electric cars versus what the United States?
The
that you see?
problem we have is the bitter cold winters, and then the
Zap
snow.
that battery.
Oh yeah, how much
It's-
stress
I
it puts
want
on the battery.
now if your car is at home in a heated garage and you have it charged, but if it's in the driveway and it's minus 20,
You're
Fahrenheit.
screwed.
It's going to stay in the driveway.
it's not going to run real good. And I don't think, because batteries do lose as they
Right.
get cold.
Sure.
They do lose power. you know.
Capacity, right?
We're not really. I mean, our prime minister, I'm not a big fan of, but
Ours either.
they're talking all these great things, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, well,
Well,
we know that.
They're
They're
talking.
It's a politician.
It looks. I mean, it looks good on the news, right? I mean,
That's right. It's good headlines.
It's
is
good
what it is.
headlines, but they're not really doing anything.
I want to say one thing that I think that's kind of may hold up the electric type vehicles from getting here. What do you go look under the hood of any of these cars? You got chrome valve covers. You got intake. What do you got for an electric car? Now I will say we talked to a guy up in Washington State that he's actually making a kit that you bolt on over your electric car to make it look like it's got a small
I've
block
seen
V8
that.
in
Yes,
it.
exactly right. That's
Now,
pretty
if you
cool.
really get down detail, it's really not quite there, but you know, for show purposes,
It's a move. It's in
Oh,
the
yeah,
right
yeah,
direction.
yeah. It was a few months ago. And I was doing an interview, and they said, "What do you think about electric cars?" I said, "I think they're fantastic, and I hope more of them come, and that leaves more fuel for those of us that drive real cars."
I like
That
that
wasn't what he
answer.
wanted to
They
hear.
didn't want to hear that.
I like that.
It kind of goes along with the gray hair and the black outfit.
Exactly. You're describing everybody in here. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It is.
And it's true.
So, Larry, show opens today at 10 o'clock, runs
Looking
till
forward
8
to it.
tonight, and then again tomorrow, 10 to 6 tomorrow. You get out of here a little bit early because I think they do the awards upstairs.
We do the awards. They do the class awards, like the first, seconds, and thirds tonight at 5, and then the best paints and best custom and best rod and so on tomorrow at 5. It just makes too long an awards presentation for a show of this size.
Well, plus the ones that you do today, they can actually put them out on display
and they can
tomorrow.
put them out on display.
Now,
kinda show 'em
today
off.
is also special with the JDM thing that you got
Right,
going
with
on
the tuner
downtown.
gallery.
And this is a one-day only. They've cruised in. They're there. They're only there from 10 today until 8 tonight. They're not there tomorrow.
No, they close that wall, and at 8:01
get
they
on
start
out here.
driving
And then
out.
they leave like a bunch of bumblebees.
It's fantastic. we have last year, 2 years ago, I should say, in Chicago, we had 250 cars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they're on the second floor, but there's only one way to. And then they're all coming from. We're all up. It's all hands on deck at 10 o'clock when they left.
When they're
'cause
showing up,
yeah, because they come from trying to direct traffic, and it was great. They're having so much fun, and it's fun to see it because these young people are having so much fun.
So what part of Canada is home, and when will you be home?
Ottawa, Ontario, the capital city.
Okay.
I'm going to Orlando. My favorite place in the whole world is Orlando. And
Ours too.
And I'm going to Orlando on Monday
Oh, okay.
for a week.
Well,
So
you know what?
I'm going to
You can
Disney.
you can bring Orlando to you just by shouting, Orlando, Orlando,
gosh.
Orlando.
So we're going to follow you on the
I
next
thought that was
tour
Beetlejuice.
to do a remote. So let us know.
Yeah,
We'll-
and if you ever want us to show up at one of these shows and absolutely ruin it, just give us a call and we'll all pack our bags and we'll be there. Larry Way, it's a pleasure to have
Thank you
here.
guys.
Thank
and
you
It's
very
an honor
much.
to have you.
On behalf of Championship Auto Shows, the production company, thank you to In Wheel Time for doing this every
Thank
year.
you.
We really appreciate it. You guys do a great job for
We
us.
love you,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and inwheeltime.com. Podcasts available from your favorite podcast provider. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Hey, Houston, it's back. America's greatest hot rod tradition is on Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars featuring the ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. Autorama. It's so much more than a car show. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration, it's Chip Foose from TV's Overhauling on Friday and wrestling superstar Sting on Sunday. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama this weekend at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com.
It's a very special Christmas Tailpipes and Tacos Car Cruise In, Saturday, December 18th at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Bring a toy for Star of Hope and have breakfast on us. Tailpipes and Tacos will award trophies for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. It's the Great Christmas Cruise In on Saturday, December 18th, so make plans now. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise in, and this one brings it all together for Star of Hope in a Toys for Breakfast Christmas special. Bring a toy and get a free Loopy Tortilla breakfast, plus trophies for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise in Loopy style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th, 8 to 11 a.m. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Toys for a free Loopy breakfast, Saturday, December 18th, 8 to 11 a.m. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too.
The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.